Good evening, good morning, or good afternoon. From any part of the world, my name is Tony Hernandez Pumarejo, and I'm an advocate for all of those that are in the autism spectrum and any other and people with other disabilities around the world. I'm the author of the book called An Autism Unscripted Life, which talks about my life in the being part of the autism spectrum from childhood all the way to adulthood. I talk about the challenges that I went through when I was in school, when I was at the workplace, and how I was able to overcome those challenges in order to achieve key goals in my life, such as getting a job, and eventually getting full-time employment as a manager, graduating from college, also writing my first ever book, and doing public speaking engagements. But also I talk about and also I talk about some of my hobbies such as traveling, some of my childhood hobbies, and much, much more. So if you're interested in learning more about who I am, a little bit about my story in the spectrum, my book, An Autism Unscripted Life, it is available in Amazon, and it's also available in Spanish, which the Spanish version is called Una Vida Autista sin Libreto. So if you haven't got your copy of my book, An Autism Unscripted Life, and want to learn more about my story and who I am, feel free to get a copy of my book today. So today's video, I'm going to talk about a subject. I've been thinking about doing this video for some time, but I didn't know I didn't knew how I was able to do this video. But some time has passed, you know, since I first started this project that I've been working on. So I believe it is time for me to talk about a little bit about my experience about my employment status. So basically, I want to talk to you today a little bit about my full-time employment as manager. As you know, if you read my book, if not, then that's fine. uh, I've had jobs, I've had employment in areas that are usually not recommended for a person in the spectrum. And the jobs that I had are more in the area of customer service, sales. Those are jobs that put me in a position that I had no choice but to improve my communication skills and the way that I interacted not only with customers but also my co-workers, supervisors, and managers. So I was dealing with the struggles of being, of my condition, but at the same time, I didn't want to let those limitations um, overcome me. And I was able to, my goal was to be able to do the very best I could, even though I'm autistic in these types of jobs. And eventually, I was able to do so, working with companies, in the past, like the Home Depots and the Sam's Clubs, in positions that I had to improve my communication skills, which for me, working in the customer service sales environment for me was more of a, it may sound may sound weird, but for me was like some type of therapy. And I mean by that because when I was a child, I was diagnosed with autism around age 3, and I was considered nonverbal to age 4. And as a result, I went through speech therapy, and also I went through other types of therapy to help me improve my skills and also improve my my condition as a person with autism. So for me, being in this environment of working customer service and sales jobs helped me improve my communication skills in a very big way. Even it wasn't pleasant. Every time I had to deal with different types of people, different types of personalities, people that were like very rude, very nasty, very negative, dealing with insults, different types of negativity, but also there were those customers that were very friendly, very nice, and we're very grateful for the service that I provided doing, as part of my job. So basically, I was able to learn so much from those jobs, which were the key and helped me get my full-time job as manager. So today, I want to talk to you a little bit about what has been my experience as a store manager, despite being in the autism, being part of the autism spectrum. If you say to somebody that that a person that that has autism, or is autistic, or that has is part of the autism spectrum, and that person tells you that I'm working full time as a manager in the retail environment, in the customer service environment, a lot of people will not believe you. They will not believe you, or they may be shocked, or any other like weird reaction. And that's what I went through, uh, because it's not common for a person that had the challenges, that have the difficulties with social communication, previous challenges with verbal, being able to, uh, which a person that was nonverbal and was able to improve, had to improve his verbal skills in order to be able to function as normal as possible in this society. Be able to do this job has been a very crucial but very significant experience, not only in my career but also in my life. I got employed, I got full-time employment as a manager starting back in early 2018, and it was my first time that I've ever worked as a manager. And and since I was working back in the retail environment, for me, it felt familiar because some of the tasks that I was doing were familiar because I had done them before. Doing cashier duties, processing transactions, customer service, finding solutions to the problems or challenges that customers had, working together with other people, other co-workers, following, make sure that you held accountable by your supervisor, in making sure that not only the goals are being met, but also exceeded. So those things that I mentioned um, were familiar to me because I've worked in this environment before. But the difference is was that as a manager, I was in charge of additional duties, of running a business, running a store, which basically means it's like running your own business, and which means be able to deal with other tasks, just such as inventory, staff, sales strategies, in making sure that I was able to help the store run an effective operation, providing outstanding customer service, and be able to exceed the goals set by the company. So those are the tasks that I had to start doing, that I have not done before uh, during my previous work experience. And one of the challenges that I had as a manager uh, was staffing, not staff, staffing, dealing with staff. One of the concerns that I had was how I was going to be an effective leader, how I was going to lead my team towards success despite my struggles with communication, but be able to communicate effectively and demonstrate a clear style of leadership in making sure that everybody was doing their respective roles, which contribute to the overall success of the business. And I had struggles and challenges when I started as a manager, dealing with people that that have different types of personalities, different ways of working, which created different types of challenges. Which created different problems. Not being on the same page, being angry, frustration, things that I was struggling in trying to overcome, because my goal was, I want to have my team together, to make sure that we are doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is providing outstanding customer service and exceeding the goals as a business. And so it was a very struggle. And for me, um, this challenge that I was going through took me back a couple years ago to 2016, when I was, the project manager of the college, my final semester of my final college, team project, which was called Capstone, which I had to deal with different types of, members with different types of, you know work styles, characteristics, different styles of working, different types of personalities. And the struggles that I had in that project was to get everybody together, because everybody was going on their own way. Everybody was not on the same page, and it was a big challenge and created different types of problems doing that project. But eventually, I was able to find the way of getting the you know we were able to find a way as a team to get to be able to put you know focus on the strengths and weaknesses of each member of that team in order to be able to do a successful capstone project and be able to graduate from college back in 2016. So this situation that I had starting as a store manager took me back to that situation. So, because I was struggling in trying to understand, be able to work with each member, be able to work with all of my staff in making sure that we were doing our daily tasks and be able to exceed our goals. Um, One of the challenges that I had in working in this environment is that this customer service environment is very fast-paced, multitasking. That I had to be on my feet, on the ground every time, and deal with different types of situations coming in. And that has been a challenge that I've had being having autism, is being able to deal and cope with so many things coming in at the same time. Um, and for me, sometimes I wonder how am I doing these types of jobs when so many things are coming in here, and which gets me to a high level of stress, a high level of anxiety. But my goal at the same time is to make sure that everything stays calm, and that my focus was the end goal. See how to accomplish the end goal as a business, which helped me keep going. So basically, um, I had to learn to be able to be more strong, to have more of a strict, leadership, and be able to stand up for myself. Basically, not that, but to be able to demonstrate respect and be able to demonstrate leadership by example. You know, be able to do things like be able to lead, be able to help customers, be able to be that leader, even though my staff may not have the respect, they may not necessarily see me as a serious manager because of my the struggles that I went through. So my goal was to be able to find a way of not giving up and be able to have a very strong leadership and held every one of the staff accountable. Not only that, but I was held accountable by my store manager, and because I was basically I've been assistant store manager. So I was held accountable also by my store manager, and be able to have that communication with the store manager and making sure that the management team was on the same page. Because if the management team was not on the same page, then we will not progress as a business. So those are the challenges that eventually I was able to improve. But from time to time, I still face those challenges of finding the ways in which to be able to get everybody together, despite our differences of opinions, different styles of work. How are we able to overcome all of that and work together as a team? So I had to learn more of a have better and strong and effective leadership, despite my struggles with communication and effective communication. Also, I had to learn how to do inventory, how to deal with sales, sales calls, be able to run it, basically run an operation, keeping an eye on the expenses of the store. So many things that I had to learn as a manager, which, so there was a lot of things going on, which my goal was, how I can organize myself better. So I had to learn how to, find ways to organize myself, organize my work, schedule, using agendas, Excel, doing all the tools available that can help me cope with the stress, the stress that comes in being part of working as a full-time assistant store manager. But so far has been, be able to learn, be able to further improve my communication skills. But it's not been easy, and it's not fun. It's, a lot of times it's not been fun, but it's been a learning experience in being a manager in a retail, assistant manager in a retail environment. So far, it's a learning process, but it continues to help me in not only improve my skills at work, but also improve my skills of life. So overall, despite being, even though I'm an autistic, person, I'm to them, I'm working as a manager, even though I'm, even as a person in the autism spectrum. I want to demonstrate people that people with autism can achieve great things. They can do different things that most people don't expect. The problem is that, unfortunately, there's still this stigma out there that people with autism cannot contribute to society, which is absolutely incorrect. People in the spectrum, autistic people, can contribute and can make the difference, no matter the functionality level, no matter the challenges that each person goes through. Each person in the autism spectrum can make that difference. So it is very important to be able to give them that opportunity. And as I said, right now working full-time as a manager, in addition to doing advocacy work in the community, and also, you know, recently writing my book, doing speaking engagements. Also, another challenge is how to do with all of these things at the same time. But there's a will and there's a way. But much more needs to be done. Be able to raise not only that awareness, but also not only push for the acceptance of people with autism as contribute members of society, but more important, be able to take significant action towards providing the programs that are necessary that will help all people, people in the spectrum to achieve a much better life, which is something that all of us aspire to achieve, to accomplish. So here you go. I spoke a little bit about my experience as a system store manager, working in this environment as a person in the autism spectrum. If you have any questions or any comments or anything that perhaps didn't make it much sense, feel free to write down a comment right down below, and I'll happily answer your questions. As I said, again, if you want to learn more about my story and how I got here, uh, as an autistic person, feel free to get again a copy of my book, An Autism Unscripted Life. Again, which talks about my life in the autism spectrum from childhood all the way to adulthood, available in Amazon. So thank you so much for being with me here today. If anything, if any have any questions, feel free to let me know. Again, this is Tony Hernandez Pumarejo, and thank you again for being with me today. You guys have a wonderful day, a good night, or good morning. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. Bye.